Hello and welcome to my very first makeup video. I'm Yolinda or Violet and I hope you enjoy. I'm going to be doing, as you can see, a glitter gothic eye makeup kind of look. I hope you enjoy and please comment down below if you have any questions or comments through the video. Love you all. Mwah. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to use is the Makeup Design Mud Skin Primer. So I just put probably about a pea size on my fingers and just pat it in. Okay, and just make sure that there's no excess. Okay, and then I will put on some of the eye primer, if I can find it. Yep, here it is. So I've got the Rimmel Magnifies Eye Primer. That's a base for eyeshadow. Okay, just pop a little bit over my eyes there. Oh, a little bit on my eyelashes, that's okay because it might actually be good to use as a primer for my mascara as well later. The other thing I tend to have handy when I'm doing my makeup is wet wipes. So if I make a mistake or if I make any mess, then I can just wipe it away and start again. Okay, the next thing I do is foundation. And I've got this trusty little foundation sponge that I got from Kmart. And I'm going to use the Rimmel Lasting Finish 25 Hour Breathable Medium Coverage Foundation. One thing I just want to mention is I know that there's a lot of problematic brands out there, especially at the moment with the whole cancel culture thing, which I don't have a problem with. I think that it's good that these brands are being held accountable for their actions. So I do still have a lot of products which may be considered from problematic brands. I'm working on changing that. I'm working on only buying products from reputable brands, local brands, brands from black-owned companies, things like that. But I've decided I'm just going to use up all of my stuff that I do have from problematic brands. The other reason I did buy them is because they're cheap, but there are cheaper alternatives out there, which I'm going to work on doing. Okay, so what I generally do with the foundation is this comes with a kind of brush. So I just dip it in. And I don't use a lot of foundation. I generally just put it in my problem areas, which is my T-zone and the discoloured areas. So I do like a bit of a cross over my forehead, down my nose, cheek area. I do tend to get some breakouts on my cheeks. And hopefully, with all the skincare that I'm using, and my diet and drinking lots of water, that will start to change. And on my chin. And I did just drop a bit on my top. So I'm just going to wipe that away. Good thing about this being my first makeup video is that I'm probably going to make a lot of mistakes. And then we can work through them together to fix them. Okay, and then I just blend that in. I tend to do a lot of tapping to blend it in. Some people like to do what's called baking the foundation, which is to do your foundation and concealer and then let it dry or let it bake for a while. Depending on the time that I have, sometimes I'll do that. I'll do my foundation and my concealer, go off and do other things for 20 minutes and come back and do the rest of my makeup. Okay, just make sure that that's blended underneath my chin, because the worst thing that you want is the line underneath your chin. Now, concealer. I love this concealer. I've been using it for so long. It's the Rimmel Lasting Radiance Concealer and Eye Illuminator. I tend to find it wakes up my eyes a lot. It covers my dark circles really well, and it doesn't look caked on. Okay, so a little trick with applying concealer under your eyes. A lot of people do dots under the eyes, but actually the best way to do it is in a triangle. It actually wakes up your eyes more if you do it like that. So just do a triangle there and a triangle on the other side. I do like quite a lot of concealer under my eyes because of my dark circles, but if you don't have dark circles, then you may not need to use as much. And then I go in and I tap. Do not drag the under eye area because that will cause wrinkles, and yeah, it's just not good for your eyes. I tend to just put the excess on my eyelids, not heaps of concealer on the eyelids, so that my eye makeup does not run. Okay. Oops, missed my nose. Tap that in. Again, make sure you're blending everything so that there's no lines. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with some contouring. I don't do a lot of contouring, but I tend to find that my face is quite round, so I like to make it a little kind of more oval shaped. So I'll show you how I do that. So this is the Rimmel Insta Duo Contour Stick in medium. It's got a highlighter on one side and a contour on the other. Yep, that's the contour. Okay. So what I do with the contour is the aim is to make my face more oval. Okay, so I'll do a little bit here on my cheekbones, just above my cheekbones, a little bit under my cheekbones, on either side of my forehead, and just under my chin. See how that goes. Okay, so with me, as you can see, the aim is to go downwards to make it more oval, but if you have a square face and you want to make it more round, then you might not want to use lines. You might want to use curves, and that will make your face more rounder or more oval. And a little bit on the sides of my nose to make my nose more narrow. I mean, everyone's face is beautiful. You don't need to contour. I just like, you know, making my face look a little different. That's what the fun of makeup is. And I have a little sponge that I use for that. One side you can see I use that for cream blush, which, secret, I use lipstick sometimes for cream blush if I'm not doing powder. And the other side I use for contouring and for highlighter. Okay, so we just go in and we're blending that. I tend to blend upwards. Again, blending underneath my chin. Make sure there's no edges, sharp edges. Okay, and then I go in with the highlighter and basically do the areas that I didn't do with the contour. So forehead, middle of the nose, high cheekbones. I tend to do this. And chin, and a little bit on the edge of my jaw. And then go in and blend that. Okay, so it's quite subtle, my contouring. It's not, you know, as much as some people do. So the next thing that I'm going to do is powder. So I've got my trusty Rimmel Stay Matte powder in transparent. I basically just use it to set. It doesn't really have much of a colour. It's just a light setting powder. Okay, so I use a large brush. Okay, get as much powder as I can on the brush. Just fill it with powder. And then tap. And just get off a bit of the excess. Okay, and mostly I go into my T-zone, which is where I'm mainly oily. Okay. Make sure that's all blended. Okay, so once that's done, I then go in again with the powder, and don't tap it this time, and put quite a considerable amount of powder under my eyes. Not directly under my eyes because that will set into my wrinkles. So just kind of just above my cheekbone. And just tap it on. So that acts as kind of a catcher for any eye makeup that tends to drip down when I'm doing it. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to use, because I'm going to do a glitter look, I'm going to use this new Glitter Eyeshadow Primer Base Glitter Glue. I haven't used this before, so we'll see how we go. Just going to use my fingers for this. And just pop it where I'm going to be putting the glitter eyeshadow. What I'm hoping this will do is make the glitter colour really, really bright. Okay, now this is the fun bit, the glitter. So I recently got this from Boohoo. Okay, it's their glitter palette. And check out these colours. Are they not amazing? So much to choose from. I don't know which one to choose, but I guess purple, because purple is my favourite colour and my online name is Violet. So I think I'll start with the brightest purple that they have and see how that turns out. I'm just going to use my fingers for this because I think that it's easier to blend. You can use a brush if you want. See how you go. Okay, quite a lot of glitter on my finger. Okay, I'm just going to go in and see what I mean about a little bit of excess there. I'm just going to get my wet wipe and just get rid of that. I'm going to do eyeliner there anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And just make sure that that entire lid is covered in glitter. Okay. Also use my foundation sponge. Just to wipe that away. Now I'm going to use a powder glitter. This is the NYX Shimmer Down Pigment in rose. I think it's rose gold. Yeah, it's a rose gold. And I'm going to use a brush for this. Okay. Just a kind of round-headed, small eye brush, I guess you call it. I go right up to my eyebrow with that because I want it to be really pronounced. I'm finding that my eyes are becoming more hooded as I get older, so I need to go higher and higher with the bright eyeshadow so that you can see it. Okay, that's actually looking pretty good. Put a bit of this in the inner corners of my eyes. Just be careful you don't get glitter in your eye because that's a bad time for everyone. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a bit of powder highlighter. Here we go. I've got the Maybelline City Kits Urban Light Eye and Cheek Palette. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the very, 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 very light peachy colour. I'm just going to go in there with my finger. Okay, so just underneath on the outer corner. And a little bit just under my eyebrows. You could also just pop a little bit on your cheekbones of that too. Okay, now I'm going to go in with liquid eyeliner, so wish me luck. Okay, so I've got the Ruby Batwing Babe Black Liquid Eyeliner. Okay, see how I go. It's got a beautiful pointy tip like a pen, which I love. I'm going to start with my left eye. If I make mistakes, then we can always clean it up. Okay, so I'm just kind of lining the very edge of the eye close to my eyelashes. And then I'm just going to bring it to a little flick. Okay, the next step is to go in with some pencil eyeliner and a little bit of powder to set it. So I've got the Mud Kajal Smudge Eyeliner. It's got the pencil on one side and a smudger on the other. Okay, grab the pencil end and go underneath my eyes. I tend to look down when I do this because then you can get it as close to your eyelash line as possible. It's not as dark as I'd like. You know, it's kind of muted, so I do have to go in there quite a bit. I am on the lookout for a better kohl eyeliner, so if you've got any suggestions, please comment below. Okay, now I'm going to get the smudgy end and dip it into the brown colour of the Maybelline Countdown palette. I am going to actually spray this with a bit of my setting spray just to make it a bit wet. Okay, and dip that into the brown. I might actually dip a little bit of the purple as well, this one. Okay, what I might actually do is go in with a bit of the purple and go right underneath my eyes so you can see a bit of the purple. And this is just kind of a kind of straight edge brush. Okay, now I'm going to do my eyebrows. And I just recently bought a brow pomade, which I've never used before. This is the Australis Incredibrow eyebrow pomade. So it's got a brush on one end, whoops, and it's got the pomade on the end. So you just dip it, okay, and just wipe off the excess on the edge. Okay, now with my eyebrows, I tend to do 2 lines, one down the bottom and one up the top, and then fill it in. I'll use really light strokes to just fill it in. With this, I am going to go a little bit outside of my eyebrow line to make it a bit more dramatic. Okay, grab my brush. Again, a little bit of setting spray, and just go in there and blend it. Okay, now let's go with the blush first before I do the eyelashes. So I've got my kind of smallish blush brush. I don't like to use a really big one. And I've got the Rimmel Maxi Blush in a Wild Card. Just tap that on and then tap it onto my hand so it's not too much because it is quite a dark colour. Okay, and generally what I do is I tend to smile in the mirror and do the apples of my cheeks and then bring it up. And I tend to think with blush, less is more, and then you can build it up if you need to. Rather than going in with heaps, you can just build it up with a small amount. And then I tend to just go over it with my translucent powder again. Just tap off the excess. Just tends to blend it in a bit more. Okay, now for the eyelashes. So I've got new eyelashes. I've got the Eye Lure London Lengthening in number 155. Long and light lash with a winged effect finish. And I'm going to use this special Eye Lure Lash Fix Clear Finish glue. Okay, as you probably know if you've done fake lashes before, but if you haven't, you put a light amount of glue on the eyelash. Just build it up a little bit. You don't want too much, but you want enough that it's going to stick. Okay, and then you let it dry for a bit. Okay, I'm just going to try with my fingers first and then go in with the tweezers if I need to. Yeah, and I'm definitely going to need to use the tweezers. Just let it dry while I do the other one. While that's drying, I'm going to start on my lips. I do have a lip plumper, which I'm going to use first. That is the Models Prefer Fruit Tingle Jelly Lip Plumper. Okay, that's feeling like it's plumping. And then I'm going to go in with the Lime Crime Ghost Veil, which is a liquid lipstick primer. But I'm not using a liquid lipstick, I'm using a cream one, but it doesn't matter. Okay, going on top with that. I don't want this lipstick to be too matte. I want it to be quite glossy to go with the glitter. Okay, now for the fun bit, the lipstick. I've got the Sugar Pill, and that is Pretty Poison lip colour in Spank Matte. Although I'm not going to keep it matte, I'm going to gloss it up. What a cute little package. I just love Sugar Pill. Just line it first. And then fill it in. And I tend to do a bit of a Cupid's bow as well with the lipstick. Okay, now I want to gloss that up a bit. I don't want to leave it matte because of the glitter. I want it to look quite glossy. So I'm going to go in with the Girl Boss Velvet Lip Cream and go over the top with that. Actually, it smells like blueberry. Okay, that's pretty cute. And another thing I do is I go in over the top of my fake eyelashes and use mascara just to kind of blend them into my natural lashes, because my natural lashes are quite long anyway. And I've got the Rimmel Scandal Eyes Volume on Demand. So I'm going to wipe that off because I actually haven't used this one before. It's quite new. And just the tips. While you're doing that, you can also press them in a bit more. And really get in there on the edges. Now, I generally don't do mascara on my bottom lash, but because I'm going to be doing some photos and for this video, I am going to go in with a bit of that. But you really need to wipe off your mascara if you're going to be doing the bottom lash. Otherwise, you end up looking like a goth panda, which isn't a bad thing. And with my sponge, just going to pop a bit of powder on the tip of that and just going under my eyes. There is a little bit of glitter still under my eyes, but you know what? Glitter's going to get everywhere anyway. And the final step is the setting spray. This one is the Rimmel Insta Fix and Go 2-in-1 primer and setting spray. I use another primer anyway, so I just use this as a setting spray. And just a light amount. Don't want it to look too shiny, but we want it to set. Okay, I think we're done. So I'm just going to get rid of this, fix up my hair a little bit. And yeah, we're done. So there you go. That's my kind of gothy glitter eye look for photo shoots or for nighttime. I'm not going to any goth events at the moment or kink events, and I'm really missing it. So this has been a lot of fun. And if you have any questions or comments, please do comment and let me know if you want me to do any other videos, if you've got any suggestions. And any critiques as well, because as I said, it's my first video, but please be nice. Bye.